Now listen, hopefully if I play my cards right, I work hard, I say my prayers, and I take my vitamins, brother, I can become a Ringwraith. Those who used the 9 rings became mighty in their day, kings, sorcerers, and warriors of old. They obtained glory and great wealth, yet it turned to their downfall. They had, as it seemed, unending life, yet life became unendurable to them. They could walk, if they would, unseen by all eyes in this world beneath the sun, and they could see things in worlds invisible to mortal men, but too often they beheld only the phantoms and delusions of Sauron, and one by one, sooner or later, according to their native strength and to the good or evil of their wills in the beginning, they fell under the thraldom of the ring that they bore, and of the domination of the one which was Sauron's, and they became forever invisible save to him that wore the ruling ring, and they entered into the realm of shadows. It's where I live on a daily basis, dude. The Nazgul were they, the Ringwraiths, the Uliari, the enemy's most terrible servants. Darkness went with them, and they cried with the voices of death. The Nazgul, from the black speech Nazg, ring, and Gul, wraith or spirit, introduced as Black Riders and also called Ringwraiths, Dark Riders, the Nine Riders, or simply the Nine, are fictional characters in J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth. They were 9 men who had succumbed to Sauron's power through wearing rings of power, which gave them immortality but reduced them to invisible wraiths, servants bound to the power of the One Ring, and completely under Sauron's control. The Witch-king of Angmar was the leader and most powerful of the Ringwraiths and rode a flying fell beast into battle. So is his magic card any good? Well, let's dive into it. But first, make sure you like and subscribe to aid my transition from a mortal man into a servant of the lidless eye Sauron, Lord of Bed Bath & Beyond. Alright, here he is, Lord of the Nazgul. 3 blue and a black for a legendary creature, Wraith Noble. It's a 4/3 with flying. Wraiths you control have protection from ring bearers. Big deal, buddy. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 3/3 black Wraith creature token with Menace. Then if you control 9 or more Wraiths, Wraiths you control have base power and toughness 9/9 until end of turn. So this hot dude has flying, has a weird protection ability, but oh my god, that last ability is just a beefed up Talran, dude. Very similar card. Talran Sky Summoner is 2 blue for a legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard. It's a 2/2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 2/2 blue trade creature token with flying. You could easily just ignore all of the Ringwraith Nazgul flavor and build a Talran that includes black, dude. I have a couple Talran decks. I love Talran. I did a whole video on Talran. I also have a paper deck that is not very budget, but I just happen to get lots of sweet expensive counters and all that fun stuff. But the old Witch-king has a couple other fun cards in the set, so let's take a look. Every dang Lord of the Rings named character gets at least 11 versions of a card, dude. That's the rule that Wizards set down with this set. Witch-king, Bringer of Ruin is 4 black legendary creature, Wraith Noble. It's a 5/3 with flying. Whenever Witch-king, Bringer of Ruin attacks, defending player sacrifices a creature with the least power among creatures they control. No living man may hinder me. Not bad. Helps clear the board out of 1/1 squirrel tokens, I guess, and is a decent build around in and of itself. Then we have the Mythic Witch-king of Angmar, 3 black for a legendary creature, Wraith Noble. It's a 5/3 with flying. Whenever 1 or more creatures deal combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that dealt combat damage to you this turn. The ring tempts you. Has discard a card. This guy gains indestructible until end of turn and tap it. So this is the Mythic Witch-king, and has a couple versions of the art to choose from. Pretty sweet card, kind of a no mercy effect that dissuades attackers, tempts you like Goldberry, brother, and protects itself as a discard outlet. So listen, we could just build a Spellslinger deck, ignore all the sweet Nazgul flavor, but we have these super flavorful Nazgul cards that fit into this deck like a dang glove, dude. You got the Ringwraiths, 4 and a black, creature Wraith Knight, it's 5/5. When it enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. If that creature is legendary, its controller loses 3 life. When the ring tempts you, return this guy from the graveyard to your hand. So listen, this is a decent attacker, I guess, but has no evasion whatsoever. Then we have 9 versions of this thing just called Nazgul. 2 and a black for a creature, Wraith Knight. It's a 1/2 with Death Touch. When this guy enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you, brother. Whenever the ring tempts you, put a +1/+1 counter on each Wraith you control. A deck can have up to 9 cards named Nazgul. So listen, these have to be our 13 first cards. You can't have a Nazgul deck without the 9 Nazgul, brother. I don't know what they're going to cost, but these are better than they seem at first. They come in and put a counter on themselves and whatever other Wraiths we got on the battlefield, including our commander. But what about a Wraith who's not a Wraith, dude? A tentacle dude straight out of your favorite anime. We got Orvar the All-Form, 3 and a blue for a legendary creature shapeshifter. It's a 3/3 with Changeling. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if it targets one or more permanents you control, create a token that's a copy of one of those permanents. When a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard this guy, create a token that's a copy of target permanent. There's a reason why this card is $14. It's a combo machine. Anytime we target one of our Ringwraiths with an instant or sorcery, this thing triggers and makes a dang Ringwraith, dude, thereby increasing our copies and getting us closer to the 9. So how are we making more wraiths? What are we targeting our wraiths with? Well, listen, like I said, you could just build a control draw ghost style deck like Talrant, or you could get to 9 wraiths and cross that off your bucket list, dude. That's the fun part about Commanders, getting these little achievements. So let's make some copy tokens, boyo. You got Mirage Mockery, Quasi Duplicate, Cackling Counterpart. These are all going to trigger our commander and copy whatever wraith you have out there. And in the 4-drop slot, we have C Double, an excellent and versatile instant for March of the Machines. We can use this to copy spells if we need to, or we can make copies of our wraiths. And we have Irenicus Vile Duplication, 3 and a blue for a sorcery. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except the token has flying and isn't legendary. This card is currently about $250. It's an uncommon and it's fantastic. We can even copy Orvar or our commander with this and get even more tokens with Menace. And listen, while we're on the subject of non-legendary creature copies, Sakashima the Imposter and Spark Double are fantastic includes and are both relatively cheap. Spark Double got up to about $10 or so. I don't know how that happened. Sakashima's upgraded card is also a banger, but it's about $20. And we have this cool card, Tempt with Reflections, 3 and a blue for a sorcery. Has Tempting Offer. Choose target creature you control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Each opponent may create a token that's a copy of that creature. For each opponent who does, create a token that's a copy of that creature. I don't think anybody's really going to be tempted with this, but hell, maybe they will, and you get more copies. Maybe they're like, well, I need a freaking blocker, brother. Other than that, it's just a standard copy spell. And listen, I'm not going to belabor the point, but Rite of Replication is good. Yeah, so then we have Replication Technique, Zindersplit's Judgment, we got Saheeli's Artistry, Stolen Identity. These are going to round out our copy suite and each have their own little bonuses but are a bit mana intensive. Stolen Identity has that cipher text, and you cast the copy of the card with cipher during the resolution of the triggered ability. Ignore timing restrictions based on the card's type, so this will trigger our commander because we're casting it. So now we start building our control shell. Keep in mind, every instant or sorcery interaction piece will trigger our commander, so counter spells and counter squalls will do the job nicely. Now we also want to draw lots of cards, and thankfully blue is great at that, so we can customize our spectrum of little cantrips and card draw. So we got Brainstorm, we got things all the way up to X spells like Pull from Tomorrow. You want to keep a grip and you want to do it all at instant speed if possible. And of course we have a couple free spells in here. These are great in any deck where we want to trigger Magecraft and stuff like that. So we have Snap, Frantic Search, and Turnabout. Turnabout is 2 blue for an instant. Choose Artifact, Creature, or Land. Tap all untapped permanents of the chosen type target player controls, or untap all tapped permanents of that type that player controls. Very versatile spell that triggers our commander. Makes a 3/3 Wraith with Menace and opens our mana base back up for more abuse. Or we can just tap down all our opponent's creatures and swang in, dude. So listen, while there are a number of ways to build this commander, you gotta slot in the Wraiths, dude, and not the Bog Wraith, not the Dirtwater Wraith, and not whatever the heck this guy is. And one last card to consider, think about Black Market Connections. 2 and a black for an enchantment. At the beginning of pre-combat main phase, choose 1 or more. Sell Contraband, you create a treasure token, lose 1 life. Buy Information, draw a card, you lose 2 life. Or hire a Mercenary, create a 3/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with Changeling, you lose 3 life. You're going to be losing 3 life per turn and getting a little Wraith boss out there, dude. Unfortunately, this card is a bit pricey at about 20 some odd dollars. So listen, man, you guys need to assemble the 9 dudes of doom with the Ringwraiths. I love Dimir decks and I might be making this in paper, depends on how cheap everything gets. It's been nice walking down the street of Wraiths with you guys, and remember, the Lord of the Rings, at the end of all things, the final boss, is my mortgage. So like, subscribe, and feel free to buy me a coffee at the link in the description. There is no gated content here, just banging deck techs, cool dudes, and giant muscles and muscles on our brains, dude, cause we're wizards, right? Be cool, gentlemen and ladies, and everything in between and beyond. Snicky G from Better Commander, signing off.